Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Jeep Day. What does that mean? Well, I haven't driven the Jeep in a couple of months, so I thought I would take it out of the garage, make sure, you can't have vehicles just sit idle. That's when things go bad. You got to drive them like, I guess probably once a month would be pretty good. But it's been 2 months. I had a lot of other things going on. Got all excited about my other projects. They got it out today. Trying to go through, I haven't done anything to the Jeep since the major overhaul that I did when I first got it. The only thing I really did was, obviously I put on a roof rack, but that was early on as well. The awning and this shelf in the back to haul around some kind of overlanding cooking gear. But after driving it a lot and driving all my different Toyotas, which drive totally different, even though some of them are solid axle like this and some are independent front suspension. I always talk about on the channel here when I talk about the Jeep that it's not the most comfortable thing for me for long drives to get to, like maybe some really cool tracks that are a couple hundred miles away, where in most of my Toyotas it's a very comfortable ride. And that's mainly because the way I have the suspension set up. The suspension in this is set up for pretty extreme type stuff, creek beds and rocks and boulders and stuff like that. So it's soft suspension, and the sway bars are soft. So I kind of driving around, keeping that in the back of my mind, thinking what I may want to do. There is something I want to do right away, which is the way my shocks are on this. These are King shocks, and they have 2 different coil springs on them, and they're separated with a collar. And the idea behind it is the lower spring should be heavier rating than the upper spring. And there's an adjustment to where when it's sliding down, this collar will hit these adjustments, and then all the pressure will go to the heavier spring. Well, right now, I have the same spring rates top and bottom on all my shocks. So there isn't that collar hitting and going to a heavier suspension. And I found that I've actually bottomed out the back a few times, kind of doing some higher speed traveling down some of these roads where there's washouts, and as I go through there, it bottoms it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of new springs. These are fairly cost effective changes to make. They're not that expensive, just changing coil springs. So I'm going to go up to heavier lower coils, so I'll need 4 of them. Probably go up two settings. I think they're either 450 or 550s right now. Maybe go up to like 650. And then the tops, I'm going to go up 1 level and get all new tops. The other thing you can do is, because there's so much room for adjustment in there for like how you set your ride height, your preload, there's a lot of adjustment. There's like 4 inches of threads there. You can go to a longer coil as well. Like, I think they're all 10-inch coils on there now, and I could go to a 12-inch. So I'm gonna do some engineering and see if I can come up with some good calculations, maybe to just firm up the suspension and prevent it from bottoming out. I just picked some really fun local tracks today, not too far from the house, just to get out into the forest, have some fun, do some off-roading. It's the temperature, well, the temp right now is 69 degrees F, and it's been that way for the last week or so. It's been just, it's so nice. It's so nice. I got my flannel with me just in case, now that I'm up at a higher elevation, in case I get a little chilly or if the wind picks up. But it's supposed to drop this weekend at night to get down to almost freezing at night. I think it's been getting below 50 at night, but getting closer and closer to that almighty winter weather. Up here where I live in the mountains, it's kind of a crapshoot. You know, I've been here 6 years now, and I think I want to say probably 4 of those 6 years have been good, what I consider good winters where I get snow and I can do some snow wheeling and stuff. But 2 of them kind of sucked, where we didn't get really much snow at all. And those are the ones where you don't get any snow at all at the house. So I'm hoping for a decent winter here. We had our top 5, according to the almighty weather people. We had a top 5 monsoon season this year, which is good. You know, since they've been recording the amount of rain that falls. And I don't know if that has any correlation to how the snow is going to be, but there's actually water. There's puddles on the track right now still, because actually there's a fair amount. I'll try and show you. Quite a view there, huh? It's the beauty of the tracks that I go on. Hard to catch on camera, but that is a big valley out there. It's about 2,000 feet lower than where I'm at right now. And a lot of I like trying to catch it on camera, but a lot of the places I like to go and do a lot of filming, what I call the red clay area, you can't even really see how far it is up there. It's about 150 to 175 miles up there. You can see some of the bigger mountains. It's a little cloudy today. On a clear day from here, you can see the San Francisco peaks. Now these are the mountains north of Flagstaff, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they're the tallest mountains in Arizona, and I think they might be 13,000 feet. You can look that up. You can look up San Francisco peaks in Arizona. They're northern Arizona, north of Flagstaff. But there's snow. They get, during the winter, they always have snow on them. I even thought I saw some pictures where they had like some ski lifts or something up there maybe. I don't think, it's not that big, but I don't know, you never know. But these tracks I just love probably my favorite off-roading and overlanding, camping, and cooking adventures are mountainous forest regions. And I've got a lot of them around here. That's why I love, that's one of the main reasons I moved here, was the accessibility to all these national forests that are up in the mountains. Now I've got an area of national forest here where I go target shooting. It's desert. It's still considered the national forest, but there's no trees. It's still at elevation. It's still 5,000 feet, but it's all flat, deserty area. I've shown a lot of that on the channel too. But it's funny that you can't just immediately think that when you hear the word national forest, you're going to be in some kind of, mountain area that's all treed in. It changes a lot around here. But this particular region, very, very hilly. Man, this road is so awesome. It's actually taken some damage this year from the monsoons, which is good for me. It keeps other people out of here. Does that make sense? Yeah, it keeps other people out of here if it's a little bit too aggressive. One other thing that you need to do with your vehicles, if it's a four-wheel drive, is you need to make sure that when you do go out and drive them, some of these roads, they're not rough, so you cruise around in two-wheel drive, but you need to get into four-wheel drive, make sure you get everything turning. Right now, I actually went down into 4 low. I've got both lockers engaged. You need to cycle your lockers too. Make sure that you don't, it's been a long time since I actually used the lockers. I had the front one go out on me. There's an O-ring that separates the air locker side from the oil, and it gave out or something, and oil made its way back up to my compressor and spit it out all in my engine bay and made its way out onto the fender, which sucked. In order to fix that, you've got to completely take everything apart, pull your axles out, pull your differential out, pull your third member apart, take your ring gear off, and open up your locker to replace that O-ring. And that's really put a sour taste in my mouth about air lockers. These things are strong as all get go. You could be on a hill, like kind of, you know, getting stuck, and engage those lockers. Where the electric lockers, you kind of want to be already locked in before you get in a situation like that. These turn it on and off in all kinds of situations, which is what makes them so good. But that O-ring doing that, and I'm talking about like 8,000 miles, not good, not good. Anyway, one thing, I just ran across another vehicle back here. It was obviously a Hunter. He was all camoed out, and I asked him, I'm like, oh, I talked to some guy the other day. I don't do hunting myself, but they had, you know, they have the drawings, the lottery drawings for tags and things. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, is something open right now? And he said it's rifle season for deer and bear right now. So not the best time to be kind of just cruising around. This is an area where people go and hunt a lot, because this is an area I always see deer, and once in a while there's some black bear sightings back in here. So I made my way in a couple of miles. Right now, like I said, I'm slowly kind of crawling in 4 low with both lockers going, just to get things turning. It's like a maintenance type thing, right? Imagine your front axle just sitting there idle, and you driving thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, and it's not turning in there. And then you throw it in 4-wheel drive, and all of a sudden it's time for everything to turn. You just want to get that stuff going. A lot of people, they'll buy 4-wheel drive vehicles, like, you know, maybe a Land Cruiser or 4Runner or a Tacoma, something like that, and it's their daily driver. They live in the city. Well, you need to engage those 4-wheel drive systems. Now, if you're going to do that, what I recommend is get on some back road. So you really should never do any of this on pavement, okay? But if you're careful, get on a back road that no one's really on. Just drive straight. Engage your 4-wheel drive and drive straight. Unlock it. Make sure it's unlocked. You can turn around, re-engage it, drive straight again. What does damage and what breaks 4-wheel drive systems on pavement is when you're turning. On hard compacted stuff, especially with lockers and things like that. But you know what your car feels like, right? The steering wheel feedback, just the feedback your body gets from your car. That's why when you jump in someone else's car, everything's foreign to you. It's amazing how much your body will learn the feeling of your own car. But you'll feel it in the steering wheel. You'll feel it that you know I know when I'm in 4-wheel drive. I don't need to look at any lights. I know for a fact when lockers are on. The steering is very hard to steer with a front locker. If you've never felt it, whichever way you're turning, your outside wheel always needs to turn more. It's traveling a longer distance than your inside wheel. And with it locked up on the dirt, it'll slide. But on pavement, it will chirp and grab, and that's when you have a chance to break something. So you just want to be very careful. Just drive in a straight line, turn it off, but you need to cycle that. Like Tacomas and 4Runners that you guys daily driving, make sure that, you know, maybe even once every couple of months, just get on one of those little back roads. I'm not talking about go fast, just engage it, drive it a little bit, let that stuff all get turning, make sure those your seals and bearings and everything. It's just a good idea. It's a good idea. It doesn't take but 5 minutes to do it.